All right, so while we wait for this to get started, we'll have kind of a fun question. So, the question is, do you guys prefer summer or winter? And then for me, I like winter more because it's just like the weather's better.
All right, I think it's about 11:04 for me in PST, so I think we'll get started. So hi everyone, welcome to our Intro to Public Speaking workshop. So in this workshop today, we're basically going to talk about some tips and tricks to keep in mind when you are pitching, which I know you guys will be doing a pitching competition at the end of your camp. So hopefully today's lesson will kind of be helpful in terms of guiding you through your body language, your speaker audience interaction, how to sound more confident when you're public speaking. So yeah, before we begin, we will do a brief introduction about Make a Statement, which is the organization I'm representing. So we're just a nonprofit organization aiming to educate students about public speaking. So we hold in workshops like this one that basically get students started in public speaking, which is why we're also partnering with Youth for Business to hold this kind of intro to public speaking or pitching workshop. So on the side, there are some ways to get involved. You can follow us on Instagram at Project Make a Statement, where we have all of our announcements. And we will also open up chapter applications soon. So if you're interested in creating your own chapter and being the president of your chapter, you can stay tuned. But yeah, this is just a brief introduction about Make a Statement. So before we begin, we actually have a very quick icebreaker activity, and I'll probably ask around 5 students to participate if you're willing to unmute and participate in this very simple activity. It's just introduction about yourself and for the purpose of getting to know each other a little bit more. And so also for me to get to know your age range a little bit better. So what you can do is turn on your camera and tell everyone your name, your favorite dessert item, and 3 fun facts about you. For me, I don't think there are that many fun facts about me. So if you want to just share as little or as many as you want, that's perfectly fine with me. So I'll start it off. My name is Emily. I'm currently a rising junior in Bay Area, California. I'm really interested. One fun fact about me is I'm really interested in politics and public speaking, as well as business marketing. So those are my 3 areas of interest. My favorite dessert item is probably chocolate lava cake. And yeah, so if anyone wants to just unmute and help us get this going, we'll probably have about 5 students. I see Tane's hand.
My name is Tanea Paula, and my favorite dessert item would mostly be crepes or waffles. And 3 fun facts about me is 1, I play the violin. 2, I haven't been on a plane for about a year. And 3, I also play the piano with my brother.
Nice, that's very cool. And definitely I love waffles too, so that's awesome. Does anyone else want to go? Feel free to raise your Zoom hand. Ved?
Hi, my name is Ved Chunjunwala, and I 3 fun facts about me is that I play the violin. I have a baby sister, and I love ice cream.
Awesome. I see a lot of you guys play the violin, which is kind of cool. All right, anyone else? Feel free to raise your Zoom hand or just unmute. Varna?
Hi, my name is Varna. My favorite dessert is ice cream, and then cake. And then three fun facts about myself is I have a younger brother. I love dogs, and then when I was little, I fell off my bike.
Oh, this sounds painful. But awesome. Anyone else wants to go before we move on? Vishruth.
So my name is Vishruth. My favorite dessert item is probably chocolate cake. And three fun facts are I like to read, I like to do origami, and my favorite sport is soccer.
Awesome. All right, so we just got to know about 4 of you guys, which is awesome. And what you just did was public speaking. So public speaking doesn't have to be you dressing up very formally on a stage delivering a TED talk to 100 people. That is public speaking, but public speaking takes place everywhere in life, whether it's at school, outside of school, even when you're just, giving a very short pitch to a friend about why they should join this project you started, which I did a lot. So today we are going to do an introductory lesson on public speaking. And what we're going to go over today is first, we're going to go over how to build confidence. So confidence is so important in public speaking. If you nail that part of public speaking, you're 80% there. And then secondly, we will go over body language. So how you should be standing, what your hands should be doing, like how can you appropriately use your body to kind of correlate to what you're speaking about and just delivers a better impression on your audience through body language. And then lastly, we'll talk about the speaker audience interaction. So how you should interact with your audience when you are speaking. You don't want to just be standing there and talking for like 20 minutes about your project or whatever, but you want to create that audience and speaker interaction that makes people want to listen to what you're talking about. So we're going to start with confidence, and why I put an exclamation mark after confidence is key, because public speaking is really easy as long as you feel confident in yourself. And I know a lot of people struggle with this, which is why we're going to talk about how you can become more confident as a public speaker today. So first, why is having confidence important when public speaking? So as I just talked about, appearing confident allows your audience, whoever is listening to you, pay attention to what you're saying rather than the way you're presenting yourself. And this allows you to clearly convey the message that you want your intended audience to know without any distractions. So if I'm standing on the stage and I'm talking about Project Make a Statement and why people should invest in Project Make a Statement, but I sound not confident in my idea, not confident in myself, not confident in the subject I'm speaking in, then the investors are not going to believe that investing in Project Make a Statement is a good idea. So in order for your audience to really listen to you in the first place, I would say you have to be confident first. And it is the ultimate key to communication. So even if you're not confident, we're going to teach you how to fake confidence today. So next, we're going to go over some general tips to remaining calm and confident while public speaking. So as I talk through these tips, feel free to take any notes if you like, or type any questions in the chat, which I will be regularly checking, and I'll answer them either throughout the lesson or at the end when we have a Q&A session. All right, so the first tip is before you begin to speak, take a deep breath from your stomach muscles and take a slight pause. So before you go on stage, before you begin talking, you don't have to rush in to start doing that. What I always like to do, and what I know a lot of my friends who are also public speakers like to do, is to take a deep breath, take a pause, sound natural, and then start talking. Don't think of public speaking as you have to deliver a pre-written, very monotone sounding speech. It could be very fun, interactive. And I would say the best type of public speaking, if you ever watch like TEDx videos, they sound more conversational. And that's kind of the goal that you want to achieve. So it makes you sound confident, you're relaxed, you're having a conversation with your audience, and it makes them want to listen to you because they start to listen to you as a friend who's just having a conversation with them instead of this person who they don't know is awkwardly standing on stage delivering a pre-written speech that's like 5 minutes long. All right, so take a deep breath before you start talking and take a slight pause whenever you need during your speech. Secondly, if you accidentally slip up during a speech, don't freak out. If you mispronounce a word, if you stuttered, don't freak out. That's totally normal. And as long as you act like you're confident, as long as you act like you're fine, you don't even have to apologize to the audience about it. You just take a slight pause and then move on. Don't purposely bring attention to your error is what is the goal. Even if you make a slight mistake, as long as you don't spotlight it, as long as you don't go like, yeah, I'm sorry, like, that's like the worst thing you can do. You don't have to apologize for any mistakes you make on the stage. So just try to not bring attention to your errors, quickly correct yourself and continue as if it had never happened. And half of the time, or like most of the time, the audience is not going to remember a slight stutter that you have, but just overall, the impression you leave on the audience like is more important than anything else. As long as you appear confident, as long as you give other people the first impression that you are confident, then the other people are just going to remember that you were a really confident person, and they're not going to remember that you mispronounced any words. The third tip is you want to speak loudly in a sense that you want to project your voice. So you don't want to be yelling across the room, or you don't want to be screaming and like just projecting your voice as loud as you can. What projecting your voice means is be able to, within the room that you're in, depending on how big it is, how many people there are, using your voice to the perfect extent where everyone is able to hear you clearly and you can enunciate clearly and being able to deliver your message effectively with your voice. And obviously, like, the importance of doing this is that to make your audience more attentive, and having a louder and a slower speaking voice also keeps your voice from shaking or squeaking, and it allows you to emphasize the most important points. So if you're giving a speech about, let's say, climate change, and what you want to emphasize is probably the statistics. So maybe in the past 10 years, temperature on Earth has risen from, average of 27 degrees to 29. If that's something you want to emphasize, then you have to put a large emphasis on, in the past 10 years, temperature has risen 2 degrees in just such a short period of time. You want to be able to project your voice, speak loudly but slowly, so you're able to emphasize the most important parts of your speech. And when you add all of these together, taking a breath before you talk, do not care about the mistakes you make, don't let it hinder your performance, and speak slowly, loudly, project your voice, enunciate clearly, emphasize the most important part of your speech, you really just look like a very confident person to your audience. So and after listening to all the tips, if you still think you're not very confident in yourself, there are 2 activities you can do to boost your confidence. So first, this is kind of a weird one, but it's actually scientifically proven to work. Try doing 10 jumping jacks right before giving a speech. And the reason why this works is because it will emulate what is like to speak in front of an audience while being nervous. So that kind of exercise makes you nervous, exhausted, and that's kind of the feeling you feel when you speak in front of an audience. And it's good because it will get you ready to project confidence even if you don't feel confident. So if you ever want to practice giving a very important speech when you're at home alone, what you can do is you can do 10 jumping jacks or 10 push-ups, and it will make you exhausted. But that is kind of what it feels like to be nervous, and your voice might be shaking, but your ultimate goal is to take a breath, calm yourself, take a pause, and speak as if you never had done those 10 jumping jacks, as if you were just walking from your room to the stage very calmly and delivering your speech. So you have to practice your ability to be able to kind of even during the time when you're nervous, when you feel like you're shaking, you're out of breath, you can still very smoothly and calmly deliver your speech. And that's what you want to practice. And then the last activity, or the second activity you can do, is to practice speaking in front of friends or family members and have them critique your presentational style. But if you're like me, who I don't really like to, embarrass myself in front of my friends and family, what I do is I would pretend that I'm giving a speech to like 50 people, when in reality I'm standing in front of my mirror. I think that really helps because you can see what you look like when you're delivering your speech. So whether it's your body language, your gestures, you're able to see what you look like, how other people see you when you're giving a speech. And it really allows me to kind of adjust my movements and, especially my postures. Or also, I know some of my friends really like to record themselves. So you can, don't face the camera towards you. So make it so that you're using the back camera, not the front camera of your phone. So you aren't like so self-aware when you're delivering your speech. What I like to do is I like to use the back camera. I'll record myself as if it were an actual speech. And then I will go back and look over my speech and see if there are any things I need to improve, and I will write them down and keep doing that until you feel confident in your presentation, in your content, and how you look. So yeah, I would say here are some like just general tips to confident building. There are a lot more activities you can do to build your confidence, but I really would say just practicing is the key. So does anyone have any questions before we move on to our next slide? Okay, so next we're going to talk about body language. And first, we're going to start with why should you include body language in public speaking? There are so many reasons, but the two main reasons is, first, it helps you establish your credibility when speaking by making you seem more expressive with movements. So if you guys know, one of the most well-known public speaker of the 21st century, the President Obama, he was a very great public speaker. He was known for his ability of public speaking. And one of the main things people love about him is his use of body language. If you go back and watch the speeches he had delivered when during his term as the president, he used a lot of hand gestures to indicate important points. He looked very relaxed, comfortable on stage. He really used his arms, hands, legs to the greatest extent, where he was looking so confident and expressive with his movements. And that is exactly the reason why you want to include body language. So you're not just standing there like very awkwardly. So that's what you want to do. But secondly, it also helps grab your audience attention. So if you're delivering a very funny speech or a speech that requires some humor, or even if you do speech and debate in extemp, you have to move from your first point to second point to third point. That's where people kind of utilize body language to help capture the audience attention, especially in pitch competitions. It could really add a lot of impression to your speech, and it really makes people remember you. And that's the ultimate goal. So here are some factors of body language. So first one is gestures. So gestures include your hands, how your hands are moving, your arms, like where you're facing and all that stuff. So you want to use your hands to help you emphasize an important point or grab your audience attention. So I know a lot of people do like 1, 2, 3, or they do like this, that. They do a lot of different body gestures. Or I know something Obama did was he did like kind of this hand gesture, talking about like first thing, second thing, third thing. This is something he did as a public speaker. So you can explore with like all different gestures. But I would say when you're speaking, the first thing that you want to do is you want to keep your front body area open to the audience. So you're not like hiding yourself. You're not like facing the other way. You want to keep yourself open to the audience, open your arms as like a form of embracement. And it really is scientifically proven to make your speech more interactive and make people feel like they should be listening to you speaking. And the second thing that is very important in body language is facial expressions. So emotions are expressed through facial expressions, and it can bring life to words or messages you're relying on or you're relaying. And furthermore, it helps you connect with your audience better. So think about the different facial expressions you want to make. For example, if you're asking a rhetorical questions like, did you ever know about this? Like, like your facial expression really matters because it kind of brings your speech to life to your audience. If I'm just standing here like talking like this with like no expressions on my face and then talking about like, oh yeah, you should invest in my project, which like, brings like this designs this new thing that's able to help solve climate change, you should like give me $10,000. It really doesn't sound that convincing. You want to be able to like incorporate your facial expressions, your emotions into your speech while you're public speaking. And then the third most important factor of body language is stance. So having a good posture, make sure again you are facing your audience, your front area is open to the audience. It will increase your credibility. It makes you seem more knowledgeable about the subject at hand. Standing up straight make you feel more confident. It allows your voice to come out more easily. Also, if you're standing on a stage, you want to kind of strategically think about where in the stage you're standing on. Is it in the middle, the back, the front, the left, the right? So if you're giving a TEDx speak, most of the speakers, you will find that they stand on one side of the stage and they will walk towards the middle. Or, some people, if you're trying to come up with an argument, you have 3 reasons. One speaker could start on the left for their first point, middle for their second point, and move to the right for the third point. And obviously don't move in like a rapid motion, like try to just be like, casually walking on the stage. And this is why like stance is important, because you have to think about where you want to be on the stage and how you could potentially include some of that stage movement into your speech. All right, so here are some tips. First, never put your hand in your pocket. Whenever you're speaking on a stage, do not put your hand in your pocket. And if you're not gesturing at any time from like dramatic effect, just let your hands fall to the sides. Let your hands like naturally be somewhere normal. Do not put them in your pocket. Do not like do something that's also like extravagant. It's just for your best interest to keep it more natural and more conversation like, and it also allows the audience to feel, like less awkward. They will see that you're not an awkward person. Secondly, you can use your eyebrows to express your emotions. So what I like to do is I like to stand, again, as I said, in front of a mirror and practice my emotions, kind of like notice what I look like when I am giving a speech, which I don't really like normally realize what emotion, like maybe I will be making some weird facial expressions. I don't realize that until I look into the mirror when I'm public speaking. And it really helps you design these little small details that you want to or you don't want to include in your speech. Third, as we talked about many times now already, just make sure you keep your gestures open. That means your hand shouldn't be too close to your body. It means you shouldn't be like hiding you, or like you shouldn't be hiding away from the audience or like not facing them. Just keep your body open, keep your arms open. So it seems like you're confident, you're like talking to the audience. Fourth, remember to not to sway. So you don't want to have too much body gesture going on. You can't be like, oh, like this, that, yeah. Like you can't be like walking on the stage like all the time. If it's too much, then it's going to be too much for the audience and they're going to be thinking that you're like trying to perform like something for them instead of like delivering your speech and your content. Just keep in mind that body language is something that's going to help you enhance your content. But what's the most important is to your message to your audience. Okay, when attempting to balance your stance, try distributing your weight slightly forward. So especially if you have like a stand where they give you a place to put your papers, if you don't have to memorize your speech, try to have the balance of your body a little bit leaning forward. And that way it will kind of like keep you in check, especially if you're like sitting on a chair. Also, try to not sit on the, I would say like the 20% of your chair and do not like sit in the 80% that's behind you, because it allows you to like remind yourself that you're giving a speech. You need to keep your posture very straight. You need to keep your back straight. You need to have all these body language. You need to not be slouching. When you have your balance of your body a little bit leaning forward, it allows you to have better posture and gestures, and also remembers to remind you not to slouch. So that's just like a little tip. And then lastly, try to keep your feet nearly shoulder width apart. So don't like just have your feet like standing like that. It's not the best way to stand when you're public speaking. If you want to sound more natural and confident, it's better to have it shoulder width apart. All right, so the last lecture part of this that we're going to talk about is speaker audio interaction essentials. So there are some general speaking reminders I would like to go over. So first, one thing that's so important about public speaking is making eye contact. It is so crucial because if you keep on looking like to the ceiling, like around you, like you're not looking like at the audience or like in the general direction, it makes it seem like you're not sincere in the conversation you're delivering. So I know you guys, your pitch competition will be virtual. So try to look into the camera when you're talking. Don't look at yourself, because when you record that, it doesn't seem like you're looking straight at the audience. So look into the camera and just be natural, and, like look at the green dot or whatever your laptop might show you. And also just make sure when you're giving a speech, what I like to do is I like to stare at like a chair or like an object that's in the audience section, but I don't actually make like direct eye contact with one audience. I think that is very awkward for me. And if it is for you, you definitely don't have to do that. You can just stare at an object like a chair or like someone's shoes. When you're talking, it gives you that focus point, but you're not directly looking at someone. So yeah, just keep eye contact in mind. And the second thing about cheat sheets and speaker notes. So if you're allowed to have them for your public speaking events, use your notes, try to avoid directly reading from them. That's an obvious point. But what I like to do is I never use full sentences on my speaker draft. I always use bullet points. I think having that ability to kind of improvise a little bit is always helpful. And also, if you're directly like reading off of the paper, or if you're looking at the paper so much, it makes it seem like you don't know what you're talking about. You're uncomfortable about your speech, and your audience kind of feeds off of your energy of like reading on the paper, and they will kind of start to think about whether you really know, whether you're prepared, whether you know what you're talking about. So notes should be a mix of bullet points that are like phrases, so words that could only be like one word or two words, or at most I would do like a phrase that's like 6 to 7 words, but don't go beyond like 10 words, because you're not going to be able to read that fast when you're delivering your speech. So you want to keep your notes very short and succinct, and so you're able to share your message very clearly and straightforwardly. Okay, so next thing is visual aids. So you ever have like a presentation like this, you want to make sure that your visual aids are kind of helping you and aiding you about the content. So you don't want to put everything on there. I would say try to keep your visual aid very simplistic, have like some colors in it, have some different graphics if you want to make the title very like obvious, and just not have all the information on there, and just try to put like short bullet points again. Like, yes, they can also help keep you on track and not go to like the unwanted tangents. It's more of a bonus, but visual aids are not actually meant for you. So remember when you're creating your visual aids that whatever makes sense to you might not make sense to the audience. So think from the audience perspective, try to run your visual aid through with your friends, family, or your teacher, and have them give you feedback on what they understood about the visual aids, what they liked about it, what they wanted a little bit more elaboration on, etc. So just remember that the visual aids are actually for the audience. It's not intended for you. So that leads to our next point about knowing your audience. So you have to know which age group you're delivering your speech to. So if you're delivering speech to maybe like 5-year-olds, then you probably want to have some graphics on your visual aids. You want to sound fun. You don't want to go like that in depth. You want to have like a lot of different interactive sentences and such. But if you're delivering a speech to like investors who are like 40 years old or 50 years old, you want to make sure you are formal, you sound formal, you dress formally, all that kind of stuff. So you have to know your audience. And once you know your audience, it's time to use it to your advantage. So by knowing who your audience is can actually help ensure that they will be able to understand what point you will be making. So also try to adjust your choice of diction. So your word choice based on your audience. And you want to be able to perfectly tailor your presentation or your pitch towards your audience and using what prior knowledge they might have to match with the content of your speech. So think about that when you're creating your pitch for your pitch competition. So the next point is called fearing your audience. And that's actually exactly what you don't want to do. Your audience is not there to criticize you. And that's so important to remember. They're not there to make comments about your appearance, ethnicity, sexuality, clothing, style, whatever. They're not there to judge you. And they have, they can't judge you on anything but how confident you sound during the 5 minute of time that you're speaking and presenting yourself. They can't judge you on anything else except how confident you are, what's the content, your body language, are you delivering your message effectively? And they're there to get the message, to try to receive the message from you, but it's on you how well you can deliver the message to them. But they're not there to judge you at all. They're not there to criticize you. They're there to listen to you, try to receive your message, and help you grow if they do provide you with feedback. All right, the last thing here we're going to talk about is audience engagement. So if you're speaking to a direct audience, there are a few things you want to keep in mind. So the first tip I will give you is be okay with silence. Don't think of silence as awkward silence. Silence doesn't have to be awkward unless you make it awkward. If you ask a question and no one answers, like be natural with it, be okay with it, be normal with it, and just move on. Words are important, but pauses are also just as important as your words. So it doesn't mean that you should take a 20-second pause, but when you're talking, you should take pauses now and then to kind of give you and your audience a break. And also, if when you design a part where there's supposed to be some interactions, but no one's really interacting with you, be normal with it. Be like, did you guys know that the world is 60% water? If no one answers, just be like, yeah, I agree. Be natural with it. Don't be forced or act. And if you ask do you guys have any questions? No one answers, just be like, awesome. We'll have a Q&A session at the end if you guys have any question that come up. Just be natural with it and don't force it out. Don't act it out. And then next, also being present. So when you're talking, make sure you are present, not in the sense you're obviously physically there, but mentally you're taking note of what's going on in the audience, their reactions, kind of repositioning yourself depending on what your audience reaction is to whatever you're talking about. So just drawing inspiration from what is around you. So if you notice that people really like to laugh it off, if you say a specific joke, then maybe you can start joking a little bit more because your audience seems to be very interactive. Or you can incorporate what's around you into your speech. So if something happens in the audience section where someone falls off of their chair, you can make a funny comment about it. And instead of just awkwardly standing there, be like, oh, are you okay? But, kind of incorporate what's around you and being present as in noticing and constantly paying attention to what's happening around you when you're public speaking. All right, so here are just some very wrapping up little tips and tricks. So practice won't make perfect, but it definitely makes better, and better is better. And the more you practice, the better you're gonna get. That's 100% guaranteed. And if you want to become confident in yourself, you have to become confident in your ability first. And that comes with practice. Even if you try to be confident, but you are unsure of how well you're going to do, you're not going to be confident that day. So just being confident really comes a lot from practice. Also, deep breaths are lifesavers. As we talked about in the very beginning, that you should always take a deep breath before you begin, take pauses whenever you need to. And if you happen to make a mistake, that's okay. We're all human and we make mistakes. So there's just no need to panic or freak out. Just take a breath and pick up where you left off. Speak loudly, but not too loud. So again, what we talked about how you want to project your voice based on like how big is the room you're speaking in, but also don't yell like across the room. Don't speak loudly for the sake of speaking loudly. Speak loudly for the sake of trying to deliver your message more effectively. Pace yourself. So how fast are you talking at? Like speak slowly so you're able to emphasize certain points. Speak loud and slow, pace yourself, have that rhythmic kind of talking pace when you're talking, and kind of like, develop a rhythm and just pace yourself at the pace that you're the most comfortable with and most confident in yourself when you're talking at that pace. All right, do any of you guys have any questions about anything we went over just so far before we go into our activity 2? Okay, so our activity 2 is a bit slightly more challenging. It's called mini presentations. So what you're gonna do is for those of you who want to participate and want to be able to, give this short little speech and get some feedback and positive encouragement. So first you're going to pick a topic. So you can pick any topic that you want to speak on, whether it's something you already know, whether it's something you don't really know, whether it's something you just want to talk about. For example, if you're really, like scared about like COVID, the Delta variant, you can like talk about that. Or if you're so annoyed at the idea that school is starting so soon, you can talk about that. So what you're going to do is you can talk about anything, but keep it appropriate. And after you pick your topic, you're going to have 5 minutes to plan. So 5 minutes to write out short phrases, bullet points, what you want to talk about. And you're allowed to use the speaker notes when you're presenting. And then the third part, you will, like preparation, take some deep breath. Not everyone will be presenting, just those of you who want to participate and get some feedback. But the speech is going to be only a minute to a minute and 30 seconds, so 60 to 90 seconds. It's a very short speech. So you're going to talk about whatever you want to talk about, and we will probably pick around 3 to 4 students or more to present. So yeah, I'm going to give you guys from now till 11:47, I'll give you guys 7 minutes, kind of 2 minutes to pick out your topic, 5 minutes to plan, and we'll call on someone at 11:47 to hopefully deliver us a little short speech on whatever topic you're comfortable with delivering. And again, this is just for practice. We're not here to criticize you. We're here to help you. This is like a great opportunity for you to speak and get some practice in before you actually start working on your pitch competition. So yeah, I'm going to let you guys go do that. And in the meantime, if you guys have any questions, feel free to send in the chat and I'll be responding. Also, if you guys plan to present this 60 to 90-second little speech, could you just let me know in the chat really quickly so I can see how many people are interested in presenting this? Also, I will highly encourage you to do it because you can do it on any topic, even if you just want to do it on like your favorite video game or like something you're like really pissed about, or literally anything you want to talk about. You can talk about your dog, your cat. It's just a good way for you to, like exercise public speaking skills in front of like an audience about like 40 people. So I will highly encourage you to do it. But if you don't do it, no worries at all. That's your choice. All right, so that was about 7 minutes of preparation time. Now I am going to stop sharing. I think we have Harsh who is going to present his speech for us. So yeah, feel free to start whenever you want to.
All right, so what I'm presenting today is a question for everyone, actually. So I could travel, if you could travel anywhere in the world, where would it be? For me personally, it would be Tokyo because like temple makes it such an interesting city, and it has cool technology I've heard on YouTube. It's like it has a lot of robots and stuff, and like concerts where robots can perform, and it's like all around it's just so cool to me. And finally, there's great food. Like, everybody knows that sushi is awesome, so that's one thing. And there's also like, I don't know, like different types of sushi, and yeah, Japanese food all around. It's amazing. And yeah.
Awesome. That was such a great speech. I love how you had that opening slide where you had the dot, 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 kind of like a suspense, and you reviewed that you would love to travel to Tokyo. So if everyone could give Harsh some encouragement in the chat, that would be encouraged to come up here and speak in front of like 40 people. So it was awesome. And I really loved the points you made as well. You projected your voice, you sounded very confident. So thank you all so much for the encouragement in the chat. So yeah, if I could give a few suggestions, I think next time if you're public speaking, like when you're sitting, it's really easy to like slouch or anything. And for me, like I have the trouble of like liking to spin my chair as well. But if you do participate in like a pitch competition, I would say try to just like, like don't do the spinny thing and just sit there and like give your speech. And I think you did like some body gestures and it was great. So just a spinny chair to kind of keep in mind. And yeah, also I realized that what we all liked phrases like that's very conversational, and it makes your presentation seem very conversational as well, which is awesome. But try to kind of eliminate the use of words like or those phrases. And obviously like you're going to use them at some point during your speech, which is totally fine, but just kind of keep in mind of how many times you're kind of using them, and kind of eliminate as much as you could. But obviously there are still going to be them, like some of them like somewhere in your speech, and that's totally okay. But yeah, overall I think you did awesome. So yeah, again, thank you Harsh for participating. And all right, does anyone else want to give us a quick 60 to 90-second speech on anything they want to present about tonight?
Well, what I want to present about, I don't really have like a slide, but I do have like the pen itself. What I do want to present, I got is the Apple Pencil. I realized that my dad had it and it's really cool. So the Apple Pencil, it was designed in Apple in California, where almost everything is designed from Apple. Like for example, the Apple Watch, the iPhone, those kind. Now, what I want to say about this pen is that even though it's like just white, I mean, you can't even see anything. It can do a lot of things. For example, the double tap. The double tap is technically to change modes. So let's say you're drawing, you want to draw on your iPad. Then what happens is if you can't, or if you don't want to like you want to use your mouse, you just double tap on the front of the pen. And then now when you use it, you could actually use it as your mouse cursor. And also on the top of the iPad, there's like a magnetic force between this flat line and the iPad on the top, what you do is you actually just put it there and the magnetic field will keep it there standing. Plus, as an added bonus, it will charge the pen itself. And it'll tell its status, how it is, what it's doing, how much battery it is. So overall, I would say that Apple is designing great products, and the Apple Pen is one of my favorites because what it can do is so great. And just for 122 a stylus pen.
That was an awesome presentation about Apple Pencil. Everyone, please give Tanae some encouragement in the chat. And yeah, it was just such a great presentation. I feel like I was listening to like Steve Jobs talk about this new like product release. It's just very awesome. And I really like how confident you sounded. And it was like conversational, but at the same time, you were projecting your voice. You even give some demo, and that was like honestly a perfect speech. And I really like how you use a lot of examples when you're talking. You explained yourself. Your speaking speed was also awesome, and how you emphasize certain words. So yeah, really great job. Yeah, you see a lot of encouragement in the chat. Okay. Anyone else want to go and present? Okay, Ved.
Okay. Hi, my name is Ved, and today I'm going to talk to you about instruments. Many people think instruments are difficult, but I do not agree. Instruments are different in many ways. For example, string instruments don't require much blowing and are not very tiring. But on the other hand, blowing instruments like the flute need a lot of energy. And if you want to get rid of some, it's a great way to play music and get rid of energy. So one of the main points on playing an instrument is it helps you remember many things. For example, it trains your brain to remember notes. This will also be a great skill in learning. For example, you will basically learn a new language. Knowing notes can be very helpful for when someone needs your help. Woodwind instruments like the flute are also very unique because they need your hands to move in a unique pattern. While the violin also does that, the woodwind instruments require a lot of blowing, which is just not my style. That's why I decided to go with string instruments, which require a bow and can play many kinds of music from classical to sorrow, many different things. So I really encourage all of you to play an instrument.
That was awesome. It was so organized. I really liked your hook where you started by saying that a lot of people, like you kind of contradicted this popular statement, and it was like, it was just a very attention grabbing method of starting it off. So everyone, again, please give some encouragement for Vet in the chat. And I really liked how confident you sounded. You had a lot of information, a lot of nuance in your speech. So that was awesome. And I would say you could project your voice a little bit more and emphasize certain words, but overall that was a great, amazing presentation. So great job. Does anyone else want to show us their little speech before we move on? All right, so our last part of this job is a Q&A session. So at this point, if you have any questions about like public speaking, feel free to just, send in a workshop feedback form. So if you could fill out this workshop feedback form, it would help us a lot. And we will able to get a lot of feedback from you guys on what we can improve on for our next workshop next time. Also, just to get like a general idea of how much you guys enjoy this workshop and anything we can change in the future. So if you guys could take just like 2 minutes to fill it out, it would be very much appreciated. And yeah, in the meantime, if you have any questions, feel free to speak up.
So I have one question, and this is against like maybe if you were to I don't know, present in front of people, right? And they were kind of evaluating your presentation. And you kind of prepared with the speech. Would you suggest that we bring that speech with us, like if we could, or just try to prepare before? Because I've seen like many people actually like bring their speeches sometimes, and some people don't. And I'm just trying to think from the judge's perspective, would you think it's better not to, or would you think it's better to?
Yeah. So are you talking about like having the physical copy of your speech versus memorizing it?
Pretty much.
Yeah, I would say if you can, I like to memorize my speeches just because, like, first of all, it shows like you're prepared. It probably wouldn't play that big of a role. I think it's more still like how confident you sound, what's the content of your presentation, the different designs in terms of body language. But I would like say if you have the ability to memorize it, I definitely recommend doing that, just because when you memorize something and like you have a slideshow that has like a few bullet points to kind of act as like reminders to remind you, but you act more natural and conversational. You're more alert to what's happening around you when you memorize a speech versus just reading off of the paper, which sometimes make you sound like monotone or dull or not as emotional or engaged as you could be. So I would personally recommend memorizing your speech. But again, if you just like, if you're so stressed out about memorizing it, if you like just think that you're going to forget something, then just bring it a case. It doesn't really make that much of a difference. I think what still matters the most in a competition is still how confident you sound, the content of your delivery, and how you deliver it. But yeah, if I'm a judge, I would be impressed if someone could memorize their speech and deliver it perfectly. But I would prefer to have a competitor who's able to deliver the speech perfectly, or versus a competitor who memorized it but like stuttered so many times throughout. I see Jessica has a question.
Yeah, so for the I think quiz that you just sent us, or like the form, does everyone need to fill it out?
I would highly encourage you fill it out if you like. It really gives us an idea of what we can improve on and what we did good, and just to get some perspective from you guys. But if you really don't want to fill it out, then don't worry about it. So that's totally fine.
Okay.
And Emily, if you want to drop your like website and your socials in the chat, you can do so, just if like members want to check it out later.
Yeah, of course, I'd love to do that. Give me one moment. Yeah, so I just drop a few links in the chat if you're interested in getting involved with Make a Statement or following us on Instagram. We send a lot of updates there and also like weekly tips on our Instagram channel. So if you're interested in doing that, that'd also be awesome. All right, so I think that wraps up my session for today. So thank you guys for coming today, and I'll let the Youth for Business team take it over.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming, Emily. Your presentation is really interactive and engaging. I think members really learned a lot in terms of public speaking. So I know you guys did marketing yesterday and learned how it was an effective marketing presentation, what's not so effective. And now with Emily's presentation today in terms of what's effective public speaking, you can combine both of those together for your pitch competitions. So if I'm going to just say thank you to Emily, and then we'll move on to our pitch competition stuff in a bit. And if you guys ever have any questions you want to ask her, you just like send us an email and we'll forward it to her. But moving on to our pitch competition. So it will be on Monday. So try to finish up over the weekend. We'll give you guys some time today as well to work on it in your breakout rooms. And you can ask your counselors any information. You can ask any of us any information if you want to relay ideas with us and just kind of check things out. And just kind of like a rough outline on Monday in which you're going to present your pitch competitions. We're probably going to break off into 2 breakout rooms, the younger kids and then the older kids, and we'll have judges in each breakout room and your presentation. And it'll be a 5-minute presentation. We'll like remind you guys when you have 30 seconds left, just in the chat, we'll send you a quick message just to kind of know your time and everything. And the judges will scale on a scale of 1 to 4, and 4 being like the best, and then 1 being the lower end. And essentially 3 things we're gonna judge you guys on is creativity, practicality, and impact to the environment, which we talked about yesterday. But if you guys ever need like a refresher or anything, just like stay after and then we can talk about it. But with the three aspects, there's 12 points you can earn in total. And with that, we'll eventually listen to all your presentations. And then on Tuesday, we'll give you guys the results in terms of the winner of the pitch competition. So yeah, just try to finish up by Monday and then we'll like present then. Do you guys have any questions? If not, then I can put you guys into your breakout rooms. You can always ask your counselors if you have any questions as well. And as I'm creating the rooms, just like a quick few pointers before Monday, you guys will be sharing your screen as you present, so kind of just prepare for that. And if need be, we can share your guys' screens as well if that's easier for you guys. And then you're just going to be kind of presenting off of that. If you guys want to stand, we would recommend that because that'll just help you guys in terms of projecting your voice and just sounding more confident. We can definitely also sit down and continue your presentation as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Just make sure you follow the template and all the guidelines on the template as well too. And just to answer a few questions that I got in the chat, for the pitch competition where it says the works cited, if you guys didn't do any research and therefore you guys have no sources you guys have to mention, then you could just leave the works cited blank. But if you guys in the problem section, usually I recommend that you guys have like pictures and you have graphs and things of that nature. So when you guys do find those images and those graphs, there's like a website you guys go on, right? So I would just link that website in the works cited. But if you guys don't have any graphs and things of that nature, then you just leave the works cited blank. But I would recommend having a few graphs. And then, yeah, Ariane, you can go ahead and ask your question.
For works cited, do we have to put it in MLA format or could we just copy and paste the link?
There's honestly an option. If you guys want to do MLA format, you definitely can. If you don't want to, then you could definitely just like paste the link as well, whichever you prefer. And then I got a question about what to include in our presentations. So essentially we shared a template with you guys yesterday on like the different aspects to include in the presentation. So kind of refer to the template and the different aspects within the template itself. So obviously there's a problem, solution, competitors, prototype, things of that nature. So kind of go off of that. But if you guys need any more clarification, you can kind of like, stay back and ask. And if you guys weren't here today, after I put you guys into your rooms, please let your counselor know, and then they'll like give you guys a copy of the template to work on. So like right after you get put into your rooms, please do that. It'll probably take like another 2 minutes, then give me your rooms.
Oh wait, Tanae, did you have a question?
Yeah, I couldn't find the template.
Oh, the template. Oh yeah, I'll send that to you today.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, let me know if you were able to open that.
I was able to.
I wasn't exactly here yesterday, so I don't have any of the templates that she talked about.
I will get that to you.
Okay, thank you.
Hi guys, just like popping in to see if you guys have any questions about the pitch competition before Monday.
Like for the pitch, we would need like a speech, right? And I know you said that like to have everything that in the template, but is there anything else you would suggest that we should include in our speech, I guess?
Yeah, that's a good question. So yeah, you can like kind of prepare a speech if you want and just kind of practice. The only thing I would definitely highly recommend is make sure you're not reading off of the speech because that just comes off as really unnatural. So kind of just like practice in front of a mirror, record yourself, whatever you usually do to practice. And in terms of things you should include outside of the template pretty much covers the basics. You obviously want to include the problem and describing the problem, including statistics and graphs if possible. And then I would potentially recommend you kind of bridging the problem and your solution together. Like in the example that I provided, I kind of talked about how climate change is such a problem today. And then I talked about how video games are so important and could be used. And then I presented my solution, which was eco. So if you want to be more complex, I would suggest kind of bridging those two together, but like it's not like required. And then you obviously present your solution, just be detailed with it, have like a prototype, and just everything of that nature become just being detailed. And then also obviously talking about competitors, your impact on people, environment, whatever it is. And an optional part that we aren't requiring, but you can do if you want to, is talk about funding and profits, talking about like where you're going to get the money from and things of that nature. But that's definitely optional.
Okay, and when you say prototype, do you mean like we actually have to make something, or can we like give it just the overall design of what we're thinking?
You honestly have an option. You can build it yourself. Like if it's a product, you can kind of like piece together things from your household and kind of make the product yourself. But obviously it's not going to be the actual thing, just like a picture or like something of the product. Or if that's not possible, you can kind of like draw a picture either like on a piece of paper and then take a picture, or you can kind of draw something digitally and then present that. So some kind of a visual essentially of your product or innovation. Or if it's like a service, you can create a website if you want.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question.
Mhm.
So on our pitch, right? Our
Yeah.
pitch competition slideshow. So for the pictures, you said that we could do a drawing, right? Of like our product. Yeah. So we can do a drawing on that, but what about when we're presenting and you said to make a speech, right? For the speech, do we have to like write a whole entire separate slide or like a document for the speech and link it to the assignment? Or can we just create a speech in our head and just go over it using like what's on our slideshow?
We don't require any linking of a speech or anything. The only thing we like are gonna look at is your slide presentation. So if you want to create a Google Doc and like write out a speech and stuff, you're definitely free to do so if that helps you. But also I definitely highly recommend just kind of creating a speech in your head and then going off of that as well, whichever honestly suits you better. So that's honestly an option for you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Does anyone else have any questions? Okay, cool. So just to reiterate, you guys will be presenting on Monday, so please make sure you finish your slide presentations by then, and also make sure you practice as well, whether it's in front of a mirror, like recording yourself, whatever. But I'll close the rooms now. I'll see you guys back there in a sec. Okay, looks like all the rooms are closed now. So I did reiterate, I did like mention this in the beginning or after our presentation, but just kind of reiterating it one last time. You guys are presenting on Monday. It'll be 2 groups. So make sure you guys finish your slide presentation, just like, make it creative, cool looking, whatever, by Monday before our session at 2 p.m. EDT. And also like make sure you practice your presentation as well. As Emily mentioned in her presentation, you can either record yourselves talking, you can practice in front of your friends, your parents, in front of a mirror, whatever you guys choose, just to make sure you sound confident. Because if you do sound confident, your presentation will become so much better. So just please make sure you do practice. And if you guys have any questions at all throughout the weekend that you might want to ask us, you can definitely email us I'll put the email in the chat at admin@youthforbusiness.org, and then we'll reply to you guys as soon as possible. But yeah, if you guys have any final questions, you can stay back for a minute and ask them. If not, just like type or say one thing you learned today about public speaking from Emily, and then you guys are free to go. And have a great weekend. Okay, great.